All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Baseball and Coffee. It is 10:32, Tuesday, March 24th. Technically, the first game is tomorrow. I know I have the countdown as to 2 because I feel like that's really opening day is really Thursday. But tomorrow, well, I mean, I guess I got to put another season countdown, but it's really going to be previewing Yankees-Giants more than likely since that is a real baseball game that's happening tomorrow. This is not a drill. Sorry I was a little late. Had to go get my hair cut since I'm on television, so I can't look like a bum. Yeah, Spectre's on it. Did you get a haircut? That's where I was. I was getting my hair cut. Got a coffee in Greenwich, CFCF. This is the spot for today. Hope you guys are good. I have absolutely no direction in today's show, so I'm gonna need people to let me know which way to go. I know we should probably watch Roki a little bit. Maybe watch Lagrange actually not pitch as good yesterday. There's some options. We can talk a little bit about the PCA extension, although we don't know the numbers. And, you know, either way, though, it's pretty good that he's getting locked up. I think he's did all the right things. He said all the right things along the way, talking about PCA here. You know, I'm not worried about getting paid, et cetera, but looks like he is going to get paid, so that's great. And the rumor is he's getting at least $130 million, so it's a big bag. And Cubs are going to lock up their, best defender possible in center, but along with Rafaela in the big leagues. But he's a big part of their team. Anyway, hope you guys are good. Connolly early. This is I saw he's going to get start in Game 3. It was weird. He was listed as a reliever on the chart when I looked at it last night, which didn't make much sense to me. Oviedo will be in the bullpen. That'll be great. How do we watch you on TV? You'll watch me on NBC or Peacock on opening day. I'll be a part of the coverage. And then again on Sunday Night Baseball in Seattle this Sunday, both on NBC or Peacock. I'm not even really sure which network they're on yet, but I know they're part of NBC. What else? Yes Network. Once the Yankees get home, I'll be covering that first series at home. So those are the answers for now. Real quick, hello, Mr. Italy. How was the WBC for you? It was awesome, great experience. We had a great run. Obviously, I got to pitch one time, which was more than enough for me, considering how I felt physically. Really good to be around the young guys, the energy. Got to see Cervelli up close. I thought he was a great man. Did a great job managing. He will be a guy that I think will get looks in the future. But yeah, got some stuff to go with. Do I think Joey Votto will be good on TV? Yeah, I mean, it's Joey Votto. I mean, how could he be bad? He's got a terrific personality. I think especially in studio, he'll be awesome. Excited to see what he does working with NBC as well. Okay, we're worried about Roki. We're definitely going to watch that. I don't know that I don't want to dig too deep into the mechanics side of it, but I'll notice if I see anything different. I just feel like mechanics is often a scapegoat for maybe a lack of confidence right now, but I want to take a look at what we're looking at. And then Dylan Cease we can maybe get into as well. All right, so let me hop over to the main screen. And we'll just start looking around a little bit. First, let me just take a quick look at PCA. I don't even know how much service time the kid has. So the fact that he's getting, these extensions, the numbers have gotten bigger. The lengths have gotten interesting. We just saw how the Phillies benefited from that early extension with Sanchez. So it's like it really protects you on that upside, like when a guy really takes off. So what's he got? He's only got 1 year, 170 days of service time. So to give him $100 million over 6 years wouldn't make a lot of sense. It could be. I have a feeling it's going to be more years. When this information comes out, we're going to have to look at that and kind of think about it. But ultimately, this is the time range where the teams want to get you. He's 24 years old. So if you sign him for 6 years, that's through 30. You sign him for 9, it's through 33. That's the age range that they want their baseball players. They don't want them anything above 32, 33. I think old way of thinking was that a player's prime was like 28 to 32, but I feel like now you can even push a little bit, even younger in there. So I find that to be a bit, interesting as we move on. It's definitely a young man's sport. PCA for himself last year, he was amazing. Did have a really tough second half with the bat, but at the end of the day, still hit for 31 bombs, 35 bags, 247, 287. It's the on base is too much chase. He has one thing he has to fix offensively, and it's just the chase numbers, right? We've talked about it a lot of times. That will help his walks. Obviously, he's deadly when he's on base because he's so fast. Obviously, we know what he can do when he puts the ball in play. He's got a great combination of physical tools, whether it's speed or power. So, just needs to find a way to stay within within the strike zone a little bit more. And then I think he's a perennial 800 OPS guy with top tier defense, as you can see. I mean, literally 100th percentile rates and outs above average. Him, Rafaela, Denzel Clark. Those are kind of the big three in the outfield. Maybe Varsho. Those may be the big four in the outfield that are really making a huge difference right now. I'm sure there's somebody I forgot there, but particularly those four definitely stand out. So props to PCA, good for him, and good for the Cubs. They're going to get a guy here. All right, enough of the extension talk. Needs to get there versus lefties. Yeah, he just needs to continue to make sure that he gets enough exposure to those guys. I'm a big believer that if you get enough exposure, enough chances, you will make adjustments if you're that type of player. And I just hope that continues and they don't try to do any platoon action with him. He just needs more reps. All right, let me get here into the chat for a minute and then we'll keep moving. Are we seeing more extensions this offseason wraps up due to CBA uncertainty? This is usually the time frame in general, so I hesitate to say it's all about the CBA here. Of course, CBA uncertainty tends to create a little bit more sense of urgency with some guys, with some teams, for sure. But I hesitate to say that that's the reason for this. It's just this is extension season right before the season begins. Tends to be when you see a lot of these moves made in general. Do you think Cervelli would be good for the Yankee job? Yeah, I mean, it's still a ways away. I don't think Aaron's going anywhere for 2 more years at least. But I think Cervelli's just got a really good temperament, obviously multilingual. Was a catcher, knows the game really well. Handled, I thought, our club very well in the tournament style of Italy. So I have no doubt that Cervelli will be successful wherever he lands. And I don't know what he wants for himself, to be honest. All right, a couple more questions in here, and then we will get into some games. Do you think the Marlins would be a dark horse pick for the wild card, or do you think they will fall flat? I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't expect them to make the postseason, but you can't rule it out completely, particularly with the fact that I'm a little worried about the Braves now with their pitching. And the Marlins have some talent, no doubt, but it's still a lie. It would still be a lie to say that they have as much talent as the top 3 in the NL East, so it's going to make it tough. They're going to have to outperform one of those teams at least to sneak into a wild card. And maybe they could be boosted with some young guys coming up, but until we see that in practice, I don't know. And then also, will they look to move Sandy at some point this year? It's a lot of questions with the Marlins. Certainly not an easy team to face over the years, but I hesitate to give them the stamp of postseason approval yet. Next 3 years, are you choosing Varsho or PCA? Ooh. So, I don't know. Let me look at Varsh for a second, because I do think Varsho showed a little bit better with the bat second half of last year. They have a similar issue where the on-base percentage isn't high enough. Varsho did, in a smaller sample, have a better OPS. And defensively, I think they are pretty comparable. But considering the ages, I'd probably lean PCA just with the upside here. But I think Varsho might be taken off a little bit. I think he's made some good adjustments with the bat as well. I know he had a really great great spring. I don't know. It's tough to compare. I give a slight edge to PCA, I would say, at the moment. You know, he's shown that he can hit 30 pumps, plus he's shown it with the bags. And I just think if he cleans up his strike zone stuff a little bit, his ceiling's a little bit higher. Okay, back to the chat for a minute. Oh, have a good flight. Love you guys. Did you ever have the awkward moment of traveling with the team only to find out that you didn't make the opening day roster? No, nothing like that. But in 2000 and what year would this have been? 2010. I was all the way. I had been given a player ID, so I don't have my wallet with me. But when you get to the big leagues, they give you this ID that shows that you can enter the stadium, basically, that you're one of the players. I had been given one of those IDs because it was down to the last couple cuts. So there was a moment there where I thought I was going to make the team, and then I didn't make the team. And yeah, that's certainly real for a lot of the people like this right now. You get to the end of camp, and you're kind of on eggshells wondering if you made the team or not. Sometimes it can be a little bit awkward. I'm wondering if that played in a little bit with Legrand yesterday. You know, he already knows he's not on the team, but then they still brought him to Arizona, pitched. Maybe his head wasn't quite as sharp. I'm curious to watch that if there's any video, which I actually don't think there is. But no, nothing crazy like that. We're still on this, Jane. Why isn't Gio signed? No idea. I'm very upset for him. I don't understand it. Any prediction for Rookie of the Years? McGonigal, AL, Connor Griffin, NL. Is that cheating? The two top guys, two top dogs. I like those. I think McLean's got a good shot, obviously, in the NL as well, because he still qualifies. For PCA, I would take the risk and make sure he's good offensively. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of a PCA fan for sure. Okay, so first thing we should dig into, if we can, is Sasaki yesterday, because I think there's a lot of people that continue to be interested in him, including myself. I'm very interested in Roki and what he has going on. Let's see. I saw he made the rotation, so they're continuing to give him plenty of runway here with the Dodgers, but he's been obviously an interesting case so far in spring, and everything that's taken place with him. And geesh, what a weird outing! 2 innings, no hits, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, 2 strikeouts. So obviously didn't have his command. That's obvious. But I'm just curious what the pitch mix was here, because I've mentioned before that one of the big issues he has is if he has to rely on throwing his splitter for strikes, it's tough to do. So he threw 44% four-seamers, 41% splits, 9% cutters. That's that new pitch. And then he threw even 4 sinkers in this game. Velocity was fine, 97.1. You know, plenty of whiff on the splitter, no whiff whatsoever on the fastball. Let's just try to look at it. This was another Angels. I think this was, Angels Dodgers. Just curious how he's going to turn it around as a starter. You know, I just feel like as a starter, he's been trying to develop a bigger arsenal, but also like strike throwing is at a major premium when you're a starter. Otherwise, they can kind of wait you out, drive your pitch count up, and allow you to dig yourself a hole. Obviously, it's the same in the bullpen, but in the bullpen, you come out a little bit more aggressive. You don't have to face guys multiple times. Maybe the 2-pitch attack can work. But anyway, I mean, this is a 4-pitch. This is the first batter of the game. And it's just going to be, I think, a bunch of balls and a hit by pitch for Roki. And look, I think Roki's very talented. I do think, though, that he's not necessarily an outlier in any way except for his splitter forkball thing. Like, yeah, he's got good velocity, but it's not great shape. He's showing that he's inconsistent with his Strike throwing. There's a cutter. So that's a slider. So let's just like get that out of the way first of all. Negative 2.9, negative 1.9. That's a gyro slider. This is not a cutter. This is a baby slider. So let's just get that out of the way. All right, fastball. There's the first strike to Trout. Pulled foul. And then Trout looks like he's going to get a hit here.
Trout bounces the ball right side. Rojas ranges over, goes to second, but the throw is wide, and so everybody will be saved.
Wow, a lot going on here. So hold on, let me look at the high home because we have Dodger Stadium cameras now. So it looks like, I don't know if that's Miggy Rowe or who that is at second, but he's way up the middle playing the Mike Trout pull thing, and then this kind of doesn't work for you because then he has to sling it and they don't make the play. So he should have gotten out here, to be fair. At least one out, but they try to get the lead runner. All right, next batter. I just want to watch all these pitches at the beginning just to see how bad the command was. There's that slider. Decent action on it. I don't hate the slider. That's an improvement. Here's the split, and this is my biggest issue. So trying to throw a split slash forkball type pitch behind in the zone, and I've talked about it a lot. When you throw a forkball, that means your fingers are super split on the ball, and the ball essentially slips out of your hand, and that's what creates the lack of spin, kind of the unpredictable movement, and the heavy drop. A regular splitter, you're more tightly held to the ball, so you have a little bit more feel off your fingertips. But when you're super torqued wide like Roki is, I just think it's hard to command it. I think it's a tremendous pitch. It's great. It's a great thing that he should have. But I think just from a strike throwing perspective, it leaves him a little bit exposed when he's behind in the count, and he's going to have to throw a lot of fastballs. So here's the sinker. It's the first one we've seen. And you can see on the metric, it has more arm side run, and he immediately runs away from it here and leaves it into that open space on the right. So, you know, it's not just having a good pitch with movement and a pitch that makes sense in your arsenal. It's also like how you can command it. There's a good one. So like with the sinker, he's going to have to start balls, you know, a little bit more in a lane to his glove side than he's, you know, accustomed to with his four seam, since it has extra run. So I like the fact that he has that pitch, but it's all about command for Roki, as there's another walk. So a hit by pitch, really a walk, a little hit by Trout, and then another walk. And now we have Soler. There's that slider. Good pitch. Where was that? That was a ball. If he challenges it, he would have got that. And this is something I've noticed with the ABS. Like a lot of these pitches that look like they might have tipped the front of the plate at the knees, those are going to be balls. Oh, so he does challenge it, and he's going to be right. So I think you're just going to see, once the hitters get used to the type of pitch that was, you know, maybe called strikes before that are now balls, you're going to see more of these types of challenges, and the hitters are going to get better and better against this. So there's another slider. There's a strike. That was a good one. Where was this pitch? See, that's the very bottom of the zone. And let's watch it again, because just so you get used to the visual of this. See, to me, that looks kind of medium height, the way that you would think of the strike zone previously, but on the ABS, that's the very bottom of the zone. There's the split. See, at a 1-1 count, I love the split. Guys are going to really, really, really have a hard time hitting that when they have to swing at it. And you see that's what he's going to when he's ahead in the count. Ooh, no call there. What about on the ABS? Okay, that was a ball. This was a good rep. Again, this is a tremendous pitch. Like, I would give this pitch in terms of effectiveness, like swing and miss effectiveness, it's like an 80 grade. It's that good. It's up there with the Ghost Fork. You know, it really is. But again, I just think it's an issue of command, and that's kind of showing up a little bit. You know, as well as he's just a little out of whack, even with his fastball command. So I hesitate to say this is a mechanical issue as much of maybe just a focus and mental issue and just a little bit of an arsenal deficiency. Here's a 2-2 split. You know, slips out of the hand just a bit early, gets him the 3-2. And now he's going to walk him on a 3-2 fastball. Just off the corner away. That was a ball. So 3 walks to open the game and an infield hit, and now we are on to Moncada. Beautiful split. So again, if you're a catcher here, right? If you're a kid at home and you're a catcher, I mean, those are dirty splits. Look how nasty this is. And you have a pitcher who's struggling to throw strikes, particularly with his fastball. You should not just keep calling fastballs. Just because it's a fastball doesn't mean it's the easiest pitch to command. Just go to something else. So in this case, that's what Will Smith tries to do. He goes splitter, splitter, splitter here, and he actually does throw some strikes. But again, I think the nature of this splitter means you're going to have some weird reps where it just slips out of your hand and it's nowhere close. And we're going to see a few of those right here. Like, those are just non-competitive. As nasty as they are, easy takes. And he pulls the heater, and he's just not feeling it out there, you know? Probably gets into a little bit of an aiming mode, and that's no fun for anybody. So another walk.
Another run comes in. Spring training exhibition rules, he can get back out there.
Here's Neto. There we go. 0-2 count. Splitter. Oh no, he hits him.
Okay.
Man, this is a tough outing. Because I guess they rolled the inning and he went back out in the second. This is just a tough outing. There's no way around it. Obviously doesn't have the command, doesn't have the feel. To me, if there's one mechanical thing I'm seeing, it's that he's opening up a hair early, and the shoulder's just gone, and then the hand's not coming straight through. He's a little late with his hand, and so he's missing a lot to his arm side. But you know, there's not a pitcher in the world who hasn't had a day like this. It's just tough. This is on the eve of the regular season. And considering what he went through last year, this is the last thing that they wanted to see. But they'll continue to figure out how to get him straightened out. I will say, at least on the positive side, splitter's still nasty. And that new slider, which they're calling a cutter, I actually think is in decent shape. So we'll continue to stay positive on that. Now I'm watching he gets a few outs here. So gets himself into some better counts, and then let that splitter play. Double play there. Third inning, he comes out and walks another guy. So just a tough outing with the walks. Here's going to be a strikeout.
Strike 3.
Ooh, another strikeout. If he can get himself to the 2-strike count, the splitter's ridiculous. But it's just about getting there. And now you can see the approach from the hitters is going to be a lot of just standing there. So do some more strikes in that situation. Here is the 4th inning. Another walk here to lead it off. Adam Frazier. And that's really it. I mean, just a tough outing. Let me go to his TJ stuff. I don't really think sometimes when you have an outing like this, it's better just to ignore it. You know, as bad as it is, the results didn't matter, but now they got to go talk to him. Like, how is he feeling? Do you feel like you can cut it loose? Are you feeling free and easy out there? Are you feeling like you're aiming too much? Are you in your own head? Like, that's really the questions, because it's at this point he's playing a Roki versus Roki game. Like, the hitters are immaterial. He's not being competitive enough right now. All right, just out of curiosity, forcing him down to a 94 stuff grade in this game. 97-1, so I don't think the velocity is bad. I mean, it's not the 100, but I don't think it's bad. But 14 vert, pretty average movement overall, is going to equate to a pretty low stuff grade. Splitter is obviously still awesome. And actually, that cutter slider, I mean, in this game, it averaged negative 8.2 IVB. I mean, that's a slammer. So considering he's throwing a bit of a slammer, although something tells me that might be off, I like that. And I like the fact that he added the sinker to his arsenal. So of the guys that we've been talking about that needed to add pitches, Tong, maybe a Savage who we haven't seen, and Sasaki, I mean, I think this guy's done a good job of making some choices of what to add, and the shapes look okay, but you got to get in the strike zone. 31% zone rate, not great. 31.8% zone rate. That is a little bit of a yikes, Marcus. So I don't know. We're going to have to watch Roki when the lights turn on. He's going to be in this rotation. So, I don't know. I'm not there with him, but it is a little bit hard to watch right now. I'm just watching a guy who doesn't have the confidence that he should have out there. So, and again, I don't think his fastball is elite. So, maybe it plays up a little more in the bullpen, but they have to exhibit patience with this guy. Or you could lose him mentally a little bit, which is a little scary to see. So not a great sign this spring. Tough spring, man. Tough spring for the kid. I feel bad for him for sure. All right, let me get back in here. Giants send Bryce Eldridge to AAA where he hit a home run in the Giants' first River Cats game. So Eldridge didn't make the roster. Wow. Okay. If a team were to offer you a contract, would you with a relief pitcher again? Are you done with baseball? Yeah, I'm done pitching. I'm retired from pitching. I'm on to other things, and I'll manage and GM and all that someday, but we're not there yet. I know it was against a Mexican League team, but check out Bryce Eldridge's swing from last night. 2 bombs in as many nights. So is he on the team or not? I'm frustrated if he's not. I wanted to see Bryce Eldridge get a little run out there. Was supposed to be his complete start, said Roberts. Now I'm worried. I mean, there's a lot to be worried about. Nothing I can say. The Dodgers have enough firepower to build Sasaki up. Fans just need to be patient. Yeah, it's what's going on in his own mind, right? Like, as long as he stays within the process the right way, I think this is all recoverable and things can move forward well. He just can't pile on himself harder than, the noise around him is gonna get loud if he doesn't start locking it in a little better. Dodgers the only team that can afford to have him in the rotation. I think that's true. Okay, so Eldridge, man, he didn't make the club. Damn. I thought he was, an interesting guy. He was penciled in the whole offseason. Did he have a tough spring, Bryce? Just curious to watch any of these mountain men go out there and hit. Yeah, Will Brennan, DH spot. Was going to be Bryce Eldridge. Now he's in AAA. That's wild. All right, let me see if we can find his swing at least that people are requesting. Well, I don't think we're going to have it, to be honest with you. Oh, yeah. Monterey and San Francisco. Bryce Eldridge. Let's watch this whole at bat. I didn't realize that they were hosting a Mexican League team at Oracle or whatever this ballpark's called now. All right, first pitch breaking ball away. So there's the stats from spring training. 9 for 40 with a home run, 6 RBIs. Okay. All right, so ball 1, here we go. Hi-yo. Ball 2. Little cutter. 2-1. Fastball in dirt. I mean, this guy's throwing 86, 87. So I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty meaty pitch. All right, here it comes. Oh, Oppo Taco. This is something that's exciting, though, because he does have donkey power, which is something that they really haven't had a lot of over the years. They haven't had a lot of guys that can, go out to any part of the ballpark in this ballpark. This is one of the best ballparks in suppressing homers in the world. And, I mean, this is easy money for Eldridge. Obviously, this is a pitch he's never going to see in the big leagues. A little 85, 3-1 right down the middle pitch, but nice swing. Yeah, good call here. That's exactly what I was just saying. Mike, MON 2340. Just not a lot of people have that type of juice, easy juice. So that's why I'm so excited to get him up there. And this is actually the first time in a long time that the Giants have some real projected power on the team. You know, when you add in Devers, you know, Adames hits some home runs. You add in, you know, Matt Chapman, Eldridge, even Bader's gonna pop a few. Like there's some possibilities in here. All right, now did Eldridge have another? At bat in here? No, he just got the one at bat and homered. All right, well, anyway, that's Bryce Eldridge. Back to the chat. He's not on the team, but played in a sim game last night. Giants bench is a little full, and when one of Encarnacion Matos are moved on from Eldridge will be up, which will be sooner rather than later. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's still so young. He's on the very young side of things. Got called up when he was 20, so he has time. But they're gonna be tantalized by the power, you know, potential to add to their lineup. At some point, he'll get up there. James Tibbs, who the Dodgers acquired in a trade recently, has been raking. They seem to pick really well. The Giants thought they would have to worry about Tibbs hurting them. Then the Red Sox decided to trade him to the Dodgers. So Giants had Tibbs, then now the Dodgers do. So sometimes it comes back to haunt you. He homered 2 nights ago as well. Okay, let's go watch the second one. We'll back it up one day. Bryce Eldridge home run to center field. Is this in sack? Yeah, this is going to be in sack. So we'll watch Eldridge hit a second homer. Oh, terrible camera angle. Well, I guess we can get center field. Yeah, all right. So 1-0. Oh, he's facing Tyler Molly. That is a splitter down. So I guess it's 1-1. I thought that first pitch was a ball. All right, 1-1. Timeout. We need center field. 2-1. Another splitter. 3-1. And here's the dinger. 3-1 heater, same as the last one. Oh, same deal. Another Oppo Johnson, 105.8. Let's go to the high home just so we can see it fly, even though you're not going to see very much. This is the preeminent bang box in the AL West. A lot of dingers in this park, which is just funny because I played in this park in the PCL a lot, and I always thought it was neutral compared to the other absolute rocket ship ballparks that are in that league. Reno, Albuquerque, Vegas, Colorado Springs, Albuquerque. I mean, the place just flies. All those places. So I used to think this was a kind of a fair ballpark, but in terms of the big leagues with the big league balls, it has not been that way. There's also a double. Also 104. This one's off of Keaton Wynn. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these guys floating around right now. Guys with big whiff rates, but big time exit velocities. You know, Spencer Jones, Eldridge, Murakami. You know, to some lesser extent, Basayo, Carter Jensen. So I'm curious to see how all these guys kind of make the adjustment to the big leagues and how it plays out. All right, back to the solo shot. What are your thoughts on Dylan Cruz getting demoted? Well, he had a really, really rough spring, and they have to get him straightened out. I know that he is one of the most highly touted guys coming out of LSU. He was long projected to be that #1 pick before Skeens kind of took his milk money, I guess, with that selection. But he still was picked, in the top 3, maybe even second overall? I don't know. Nats premium guy, speed power combo. First run through the big leagues has been rough. Interesting that he looked like he tried to retool his swing and it almost went worse. I saw he had an insane like 70% infield pop-up percentage, like something you don't see, which just tells me his swing mechanics are off. And he's just uppercutting, hitting the very bottom of the ball. I know he's trying to probably pull side fly ball, but he needs to continue. He needs to find the middle ground there and get a little more recalibrated so he can make a little bit more consistent line drive contact. Whatever he did with the swing hasn't been great. Imagine if Pittsburgh had an all-time mess up of taking Cruz over Skeen. Yeah, I mean, for a long time there, it seemed like that was going to be the case. But we'll see. My guy, Saris of Rates and Barrels, said Sacramento was actually cooler than usual last year. If it's warm, it could get scary. Yeah, expect big offensive numbers. I don't play fantasy baseball, but Nick Kurtz should be at a premium. Langoliers, Butler, Soderstrom, Rooker, even McNeil. I think these guys are all going to go off for big offensive years. Wilson, you don't expect many homers, but don't even sleep on McNeil to hit some dingers this year because he's gotten better at his pull side fly balls. What else here? Will the Royals and Red Sox pick up momentum from the WBC performances of their players? I mean, who the hell knows? But both of those teams did awesome, particularly the Red Sox. They were insane. They were insanely good in the WBC. Their outfield group alone hit as many home runs as whole nations. So here's the stat. Here's the stat on Cruz. 55.6% of his fly balls are pop-ups this spring, and pop-ups are just as bad as strikeouts. So something's weird with the swing mechanics there. That's not a result of how he's getting pitched. That's just something up with his swing mechanics. And I'm not a swing mechanics expert. I look at it from the pitcher's lens, and I certainly haven't watched much of Dylan Cruz. Hopefully he'll get that straightened out. He'll get himself back to DC very soon. All right, we got one more here. Rocker named fifth starter for Rangers. What makes that death ball weird pitch he throws so effective? It's just incredibly high whiff rate. If you go look at the Kumar Rocker movement chart, you see these yellow dots that are right below that 0-0 line. Those pitches are really effective because it allows you to get right below the strike zone on top of home plate. That's the #1 chase area in baseball. As long as you land something in the lower third of the strike zone before that, really hard pitch for guys to lay off of. What does everybody chase is whiff, of course, swing and miss. He has a lot of that. More of his other issue is what happens when he doesn't get swing and miss, like his contact issues. How can he manage contact better? How can he get himself, to not overexpose that pitch? And in a very weird turn of events last year, they stopped using his best pitch, which is the slider. It was down to 16%, which I find very odd. If you go back to 24 when he debuted, it was up at 39%. So, I don't know why you would throw your best pitch less. They moved him to more of a cutter arsenal last year. I don't really have a good explanation for this with Kumar at all. And the results backed up as well. He only had 3 starts the previous year, but whatever they did last year wasn't effective. So he does earn the 5th spot this year. Very interested to see what his mix is. You would think there'd be more emphasis on throwing this death ball slider, as that is his outlier pitch. But I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. He's for as famous of a pitcher as he is, there's so much uncertainty with him, I would say. All right, back to the chat. Not sure if you touched on this, but did you see Cease's changeup? Used it a bit and got some whiffs, really high IVB on it. Wonder if there's anyone throwing something similar with success. Sure, let's go watch it. So when did Cease pitch? He pitched a couple days ago for the Jays. Let's say maybe the 22nd, I want to say. Tampa Bay, Toronto. Let me look into this. Yes, so he threw 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Player breakdown, Mr. Dylan Cease. This is a guy who obviously have a lot of Jays fans as part of our community here, and he's the big signing. I think it's interesting that he's just been so four-seam slider for his whole career, and those are great pitches, but I want him to have a bigger breadth of arsenal. I want him to manage his contact a little better to really achieve a more consistent level of dominance. No doubt he can strike everybody out with the best of them, but more of that field game, and I think he has the right temperament to figure it out. But to this point, he hasn't figured it out. And anyway, he's been trying a lot in spring, to his credit. He threw 12 sinkers in this game, 11 changeups. So the changeup is what we want to lock in on. He also threw 8 sweepers and 8 knuckle curves. We'll watch all this outing if we can, but I am curious about the movement on the changeup. All right, movement on the changeup. 17 and 8, and his fastball is 18 and 3. So almost no separation in terms of vertical break. Definitely getting some more fade on the changeup. Yes, this can work. Typically, you would want more of a speed differential, but what did he come in at? What did his changeup come in at? It came in at 83. Oh, no, that's Seymour. Came in at 86. So it's still 10 miles an hour, but you see, compared to the other version of changeup he had been throwing, which was that super slow lob ball, 78.3. That's 8.5 miles an hour harder. So let's try to watch this a little bit. This is Rays, Jays. Rays and Jays. Let's see if we can get a look at Cease's final tune-up, which I'm assuming this was. Has to be. So 83 pitches. All right, here we go. We'll watch all of the first inning, and then we'll hunt around for some changeups and some pitches that are not fastballs and sliders. Fastball. Here is a slider. Ground ball, base hit. All right, here's the first changeup we see. All right, timeout. First of all, who's this hitting? Hunter Fiducia, changeup, 14.7 and 8.5 at 85. So you are talking about a 11 mile an hour difference, which that is the old school changeup part of a changeup. And I think it can work. Blue Jays fans will remember Marco Estrada. Marco Estrada had the floaty, not any real drop to it changeup. That was a dominant pitch for him as a Blue Jay. Here's another one. He's going to get a strikeout on it. Wow. So, look, if he can get guys programmed on his fastball timing, the changeup will play. Despite the fact it doesn't have great drop, it's going to be about the right timing of when to use it, how good his command of it is, because even with low IVB, execution's still king. If you throw the ball down and away or right below the zone down middle, you're still going to get a lot of good outcomes, even with not a great shape of changeup. But look, I like the separation, and I like the fact that maybe this is a grip, whatever he's doing now, that he can actually command. And command's an important thing, obviously. All right, here's a sweeper. Pitch we didn't see much of for a ball. Change up again. So looks like he wants to use this versus lefties quite a bit. And once again, another guy way out front, Gavin Lux. Slider. Slider again. Wonder if he goes change up here. Ooh, sinker. Front door sinker. I love that he's adding the sinker in. More and more guys with the dominant four seams are adding the sinkers in. This is the happy accident type sinker because, again, his sinker doesn't have a lot of drop. None of his pitches have a lot of drop except for his actual slider. But this is a pitch he can start off the plate and then run it to the right, and he gets the happy accident swing through there from Luxy. Now we got Junior. First pitch slider chase, first strike, second pitch slider. So I'm wondering if right on right he'll just continue to mainly fastball slider, I would think. Because why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it looks like he's at least trying to do a little bit more of the changeup stuff versus lefties. Here's a fourth slider to Caminero, which we don't have the clip for, and then he goes to the sweeper. And he gets the fly out. There's that man Varsho catching everything. All right, let's hunt around a little bit for some more change-ups and other stuff. All right, well, here's a sinker 1-2. So it looks like all the sinkers to lefties, he's trying to go front door freeze. Wow, we almost got that one. Ho, 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 ho. Half an inch. Good try. Are those sweepers maybe knuckle curves misreads? Maybe. We'll go look at the TJ stats so I can look at the clumps after this. But you see how he wants to use the sinker. He wants to use it as a freeze pitch, which for me, I love this approach so much from Cease. This is probably the first adjustment that I've seen that makes me very encouraged from him, because all of his strikeouts in the past are swinging. And that's fine. He's good at getting chase. He's good at getting whiff. But you're leaving strikeouts on the table with some guys if you don't learn how to freeze. This pitch right here will allow him to freeze guys. Even though he misses here, he's going to lock up a lot of dudes here with this type of pitch. So then he goes to the changeup. Here's the changeup.
There was a lot to be decided over the last.
I mean, yeah, it's a weird changeup, no doubt, but I think it can play. I think it can play. I like it as a possible. I like it as a possibility. There's another shot with that sinker, but he pulls it that time. Nothing there. I'm still hunting around for a changeup. Here's the first right-on-right changeup on an 0-1 count. Let's watch this whole sequence because I'm curious why. First pitch sweeper, strike. Second pitch changeup, take. Third pitch normal slider, big chase, and then I don't know why you wouldn't throw that again, but he doesn't. He gives up a hit. I mean, the hitter was telling you, I'll swing at a bad pitch. Throw it again, buddy. So, don't love that, but that's fine. It's not me. Oh, here's a sinker to a righty. So you think they would set up middle trying to jam. The sinker's a good addition. The sinker's a good addition. If you're a Jays fan, this is a very good addition to his arsenal. It's going to help him get some quicker outs, potentially go deeper in a ball game. So I love that. All right, looking for more. Here's another sinker. Try to jam another righty. And it does. Look at that contact. That's what the sinker right on right does for you guys, especially when they're expecting that four seam. Here's another sinker to a righty. So they're feeling it here. Jams him again. And then you can play slider off of a different tunnel and probably get chase. And pretty good swing by Valade right there. Another right-on-right sinker, so now all of a sudden the sinker is becoming a part of his game. Look at that. First pitch outs. He's the type of guy that's always had deep at-bats. Foul balls, takes, swings and misses, 5-6 pitches all the time. If he can get some quick outs, it's only going to serve him better. He's not going to have to be his max effort all the time. I'm liking this adjustment. All right, I'm looking for another changeup. Here's one, 0-1. Changeup hasn't gotten whacked yet. It is a little weird to me that he's throwing it up in the zone. Oh, here's another sinker attempt on 1-2. So that's versus lefties, that's where the sinker comes into play. It's a freeze attempt, and with the righties, it's a jam attempt. I actually think you'll see more of it right on right, but I like the fact that they're at least trying it with the sinker to the lefties, the front hip action. And then the changeup, again, just a weird pitch, very floaty. But I think it can work. I need to see how his command of it is over time. Here's another one.
Who you do, and that's why you kind of stretch.
That's kind of middle, and he's out in front of it. So
that's why you acquire.
One thing that I will say as well, like if that ball appears to look the same coming in as the fastball, like similar spin, like similar like backspin to it, that could also help hide what pitch it is a little bit on the way to the plate as well. So that's actually an added benefit at times if you have command of having a pitch with no actual vertical separation. It's more just speed. It's almost like there's a little bit of disguise there. Now it can work against you if you don't locate it, but I think it can work for you if you do. All right, here's a 1-0 changeup to a righty to Junior Caminero. So that's the first one we've seen behind in the count to a righty. Kind of a weird choice here. Misses low with it. But I like the fact that they're being creative. 2-0 sinker. Swing and miss. 2-1 changeup. Doesn't hit with that one. And then he ends up walking him. Let's see what else we can find. Here's a 1-0 sinker. Ooh, that might have been a strike. Nope, ball. Another sinker here.
to be able to kind of hit the ground running. So really pleased with that. And I've said it before.
Him in terms of one out, Carson will
Still being
stock line
solid.
right here on this fifth more.
Nothing new for these last couple batters. Oh, here's a 2-0 sinker to Yandy.
A little bit with my side session. Maybe I don't throw on the side between
Lauer, game of the Dodgers.
accomplishments. That's when
Here's another changeup.
There is some unfinished business in that clubhouse.
Gets the called strike with that changeup. Changeup again here to Fiducia, and Fiducia's been out in front of all of his changeups. So you see, I mean, the speed differential is definitely fooling these guys to some extent.
I wouldn't doubt this is.
And that's it. That's it for Cease. Let me go to the TJ stats on him. Just see what it thinks, what this machine thinks of his stuff from the other day. All right, Dylan Cease, 15 whiffs on the day. Average 97.3 with the four seam, 96.5 with the sinker. There's the changeup, 86.8, 17.2 and 8.9. Stuff grade's only a 91. It's not going to give it a great stuff grade, to be honest with you. But what do I like about it? 57% whiff in this game, 72% zone, so he has ability to throw it over the plate. And obviously it was working. It's not something that guys are going to key in on. They're going to go up against him and they're going to look for fastball slider. Also, that sinker only gets a 97 stuff grade. So, like, it's interesting. Like, I've never been suggesting that these additional pitches should drive the bus for Cease. But I think in the right spots versus the right hitters, they're awesome to have in his arsenal because it does help him not overexpose his main two pitches, which I think is mainly his only real issue that he had in San Diego. It's just too predictable when you're basically a two-pitch pitcher. And now, I mean, shoot, he threw 8 sweepers, 8 curves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches that were a factor in this game yesterday. That's a much different guy. And I'm curious how much he can stick with that over the season and whether he gets really comfortable doing this or not. I mean, you can see the stuff grades. 113 on the slider, 114 on the four seam. Obviously, they love those. And to answer our previous question, looks like there is a distinct difference between the curves and the sweeper. The sweeper's got a little bit more to the left to it, and these turquoise dots, and the curve is that purple dots. So those are a little more straight down. Sweeper has a little more left on it. So they are distinct pitches. So I'm a fan of that. At least he added that. Hey.
What up?
What up?
Oh, your hair looks nice.
Do I look good?
Yeah, love.
Okay, how is she?
Sick.
Ugh, okay. What do you got?
Nothing. I'm gonna order lunch.
Oh, what are you gonna get?
I don't know. What do you want?
Well, get me something if you get something. You know what I like.
Love you.
Love you. You look good.
Thanks, babe.
Your hair got a little fluffed, huh? Yeah. All right. All right, so let me answer some questions in here. Looks like a couple people are talking in here. My concern is that it isn't a changeup with no vertical separation on the fastball. It's essentially just a bad fastball at this point. I understand his velo protects it somewhat, but I'm not as hot about it. Like, yeah, look, it's not a great pitch in a bubble, but I think given his arsenal and the fact that nobody's looking for this pitch, there's going to be a little added effectiveness to it, despite its lame grade. I also think his ability to throw it in the strike zone is important because, again, like the slider is not a very high zone rate for him, so he needs more pitches to throw in the zone. I'm cautiously optimistic, despite the stuff grade, that this is a good change for him, but I love the fact that he also has that sinker. For me, the sinker is the bigger thing because he's going to get some freezes on lefties, and he's also going to be able to get some quick contact outs versus righties, including ground balls. And he's been a big-time fly ball pitcher in his career. And you want to be able to get the ball on the ground at times. Do you think he's more willing to pitch to contact with Toronto's defense? I think that's part of it, but I also think in general, as you age in this game, you realize that it's exhausting to strike everybody out. And sometimes there's an inverse relationship between guys who get swing and miss and guys who give up damage. Like they end up being the same guys a lot. So finding a way to get off the barrel on some balls in play, not a bad thing, especially if you want to go ahead and chase 200 innings or chase down a Cy Young. I mean, Skeens is a good example. Even Garrett Cole in his most recent, his Cy Young year, little less strikeouts, more willingness to get some quick outs, equates to more innings, more bulk. That looks great too. I mean, those are all valuable properties to have for your team, especially as ace. Also, he has Kirk, great catcher. Trying out 3 different pitches is a lot to add in a single offseason. No, it is. It is. I mean, that's kind of where we're at in baseball these days. The ability to add things is truly nutty. But I don't know. I think those pitches look good. Those pitches look good. So, you know, I mean, we'll see it. We'll see how it translates to the regular season, I guess, is my ultimate concern. You don't want to strike everyone out. Of course, look. So here's the thing. You do want to strike everyone out. But will you strike everyone out? No. Even if you have an elite strikeout rate, like 30%, like Cease regularly has, that's 70% of your at-bats that are not ending in strikeouts. So you add another, say it's 10% walks. That's 60% of your at-bats where the ball is getting put in play. If you're going to give up the ball in play 60% of the time, you should probably figure out how to manage your contact a little bit better. To me, that's a huge part of becoming a complete pitcher and actually getting to your ceiling. It's just really hard to outwhiff everybody all the time. So I wanted to make that clear, at least in my opinion. Anyway. All right, it sure is roster crunch season, no doubt about it. I mean, this whole thing is wild. This time frame right now sucks. This is where I was stuck in the doldrums last year. You know, not going to the minor leagues. There's no spots in the big leagues. There's a million guys on the market. The whole thing's just, this is a tough time of year. This is a tough time of year. Lot of disappointment in the business this time of year. Don't you often want weak contact? Yes. The holy grail for pitchers is 30% strikeout rate and a 90th or better percentile in hard contact, right? Those two things, you're not going to give up a lot of runs. You're not going to give up a lot of slugging, and you're going to not give a lot of hits in general because you're also getting strikeouts. So all those things matter. All right, what's next on the agenda today? Okay, let's look into what happened in that Yankee-Cub game yesterday. I don't think we have any video from this Wago, but you know, the phenom, the story of spring training for the Yankees, Carlos Lagrange, who I'm so high on. He had the day from hell yesterday out in Sloan Park in Mesa. 2 2/3, 9 hits. I don't think he gave up 9 hits the whole rest of spring combined. 8 earnies, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs allowed. So he got clipped twice, which is a little weird to me. On the other side, Imanaga, 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Let's go look at the breakdowns because I'm curious on Imanaga's velocity. But real quick at Lagrange, what did he average with the heater? Because it's a joke. He averaged 98.9 with the heater. Slider, sweeper, changeup. Normally he's a big, I mean, he's still got big time whiff percentage, no? Oh, no. Only 1 for 10 on the 4-seam, but 7 for 13 on the slider. First pitch strikes look good. All right, anyway, let me zip forward to Imanaga for a second. What was his velo at? So this is the number one thing we've been chasing with Imanaga a little bit. 92.4. He needs to be a little higher than he was last year. I think that makes all the difference with his style of pitching up in the zone. If guys can beat him to the spot, then his crazy amount of carry won't matter. So that's a good sign for him that he looked good. Let me see if we get this video. I don't think there was video in this game, and I don't have the slightest idea why not. Why would they not put a Yankees-Cubs game on from Sloan Park? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I've not been able to get this video, so that kind of sucks. So we're not going to be able to watch any of that. That's too bad. Who clipped him for the homers? Michael Bush and Bregman. Okay, two really good hitters. Two really good hitters. Let me I was curious to see like what is it when he struggles. It was probably just command, you know, in the zone. And you know, these guys are good too. You're not, no matter how nasty you are, you can get hit from time to time in the big leagues. That's just reality. Let me get back in the chat here and then we'll figure out what to look at next. I think Kimbrel makes it back with the Mets or somewhere else, or think it's the end of the line for him. I don't know. I mean, it seems like he still wants to keep going. Velocity is not where it used to be. He's still basically the same pitcher. So there's a lot of the same issues as well as like the good stuff he's bringing to the table, just not as much velocity. I don't know. It's been a bumpy last few years, even though he's obviously, to me, he's a potential Hall of Famer. Warren Schaefer talked a little bit about why Dollander is in the pen. He said they don't think he's currently one of the best 5, but they don't think AAA will help him. Okay, I can get on board with that. They're going to look to get him a good runway, to get him in there, pitch him his innings, help him continue to learn. And also, nothing wrong with taking the best 5 guys that you think can help you win. You shouldn't be trying to lose, so I like that the Rockies are taking that approach. They think that they're going to go with their best 5, which should be Freeland, Lorenzen, Sugano, Quintana, and Feltner. So, I mean, it's not like it's 5 nobodies. It's 5 pretty good names. So, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I'm sure he will find his way into plenty of starts this year. Did Ryan Nelson make an impression to me? I just know his fastball was incredibly dominant last year, so curious to see how he looks this year for the D-backs. If he can do that back-to-back years where his fastball is like the best pitch in the league in terms of run value. We'll see. We'll see. I think Chris Taylor. I mean, Taylor's also in. I mean, it just gets tough for these veterans. You're going to see a lot of veterans here who are on the fence of whether to keep playing or not at this moment. It's going to be very, very tough. Pepio to IL for Tampa Bay with right hip inflammation. Don't like to see that. We like Pepio a lot. Let me go to trade rumors and see what is new real quick. All right, Pepio injured list. Carson Williams to break camp at shortstop. He's a great defender. Not sure about the hitting yet. Walls is hurt. That's why he broke. What else we got here? A's finalize opening day bullpen. Don't really care. Rangers will carry Carter Baumler on the roster. I saw this was pretty cool. My guy Skip Schumacher told him that he had made the team during a pitching change. Great way to do it. Love that. Very cool. Skip's one of the best. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit about PCA. McGonigal hasn't been told if he makes the roster yet or not. I find it hard to believe he won't make it. He's very good. He had a .423 on base this year in spring. So I don't know the numbers on PCA. Astros, McCullers got in there. They sent Arrighetti to AAA. This was the big news yesterday out of Red Sox camp. Tolley goes to AAA. Early is going to get that start. It might be a spot start. Oviedo's in the bullpen to begin with. Anyway, that's the main stuff in terms of transactions. All right, let me get back in here. Why is Michael Kopech still unsigned? I know injury risk, but seems like a cheap, high-upside signing with anyone. So this one doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. I thought he was ripe for a multi-year deal, considering his upside and age and the fact that really the last time we saw him pitch, he was being a big-time piece for the Dodgers in their World Series run 2 years ago. I mean, I've talked about this maybe before in the stream, but I remember one of the games he started against us in the CS. I wasn't on the roster, so I decided to watch the top of the first inning from the dugout, and like Kopech's right in front of me throwing absolute aspirin tablets to the plate. The ball looked so fast and so explosive, and his whole ethos out there was so powerful that I was just like, man, like you just don't see, in a world, in a league of a lot of aggressive, nasty pitchers, he felt top tier that day. So I know he's been hurt, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I wonder what those medicals look like. That's probably the biggest issue holding him back. Dolander has a wicked ceiling, and I believe sub-4 road ERA in 2025. Don't care if he's not the best. He should be starting on an abysmal Rockies team. Yeah, I mean, they're taking a little bit of a different tact. I would bet he still gets at least 15 to 20 starts for the Rockies this year. And if it were me, I'd be starting him probably over a Feltner. Or I just wouldn't have signed Sugano. But that's not the way they went. This is a new regime. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what they're telling him. You know, for me, I like Dolander's sinker shape a lot more than his four-seam shape. So I'm curious how he continues to evolve. And I know he did well on the road and it was a disaster at home. But you have to tame the beast at some point if you're going to be a Rocky. Any good stories about when you got the call up for the first time? I'll tell my call up story. So 2010, I mentioned just now how I almost made the team out of camp. Didn't make the team out of camp. That was probably the best I had pitched to that point. Now the Cardinals did a whole bunch of shit with me where they stopped my cross body action and they straightened me out and they tried to cookie cutter me like everybody else. And I hated it and I sucked. My stuff was worse, but for a little length of time in 2010, I was able to make it work enough to throw strikes. So if you look at my 2010 season in AAA, it was actually respectable. Walk rate was decent. K rate was okay. Gave up too many hits, but I was in the strike zone more. And I earned that call up. Like I knew I was the next guy on the list to get called up. What ends up happening is Kyle Loesch gets hurt, and we were in Fresno. And I remember we were in Fresno, California in AAA. I was doing the radar gun during the game that day from the stands. And I'm checking MLB trade rumors. I'm checking Twitter at the time or whatever to see if I'm going to be the guy who gets called up. A lot of scuttlebutt, but no word from anybody. So the game ends. I go back into the clubhouse. I'm kind of like, all right, it's not my time. I sit down to eat the food. Next thing you know, I get called into the office. I get called in the office. They tell me that I'm going to the big leagues. I come back out, you know, the guys all celebrate that I'm getting called up. I go call my dad, call my mom. It just felt like just a huge weight off my shoulders. Get on the plane, go to San Diego, met up with the team. This was also a little awkward because I wasn't technically on the roster for a few days. So I was showing up early in the day to the ballpark at Petco, and I was throwing out on the field, and then they wanted me to leave before the media saw me. So the first 3 days in the big leagues, I was there. I wasn't really there. I didn't get any service time for those days. Then we flew to Chicago, which is where I ultimately made my debut, May 29th, 2010, started the game. And it was awesome. It was awesome. Lost the game, but that's my call-up story with the Cardinals. Not a whole lot to it, but yeah, I was in Fresno when I got the word. All right, what else we got here? I wonder if players can just ramp up easier at home. Corbin was signed last year and pitched almost right. No, most guys cannot ramp up easier at home. Corbin has a little bit of advantage because he lives right there in Jupiter near the Cressy place, and Cressy can get hitters, and you can go ahead and pitch and make it sort of real down there, which is where I was in Florida last year. But for the most part, if you're not doing it like in a real environment, it's gonna be a shocking experience when you get back in it, and you won't be ready. Isn't it weird that in the age of pitch design, no one has cracked the knuckleball? I mean, people know how to throw it. It's just so hard to control it. Very hard to control it. How old were we? 24? Yep, debuted at 24. So I was a little bit older, and then I stuck when I was 26. So of course, I think I could have been up there at 22 as a relief arm, 21, 22 as a relief arm, but that wasn't really my path at the time. All right. What else is there to look at? I don't have too much time today. I have a call in a little bit, so I don't have a ton of time, but who were the fun stuff to look at yesterday? Let's see, Minnesota, Boston. Was this Oviedo? Yeah, gave up 6. Sansone, Slayton, Coulomb, Whitlock. Whitlock got back in there. That's good to see. Chapman gave up a couple runs. So we want to look at Johan Oviedo a little bit. Is that the plan? Roman Anthony got 2 hits in this game. Twins Sox. The old Fort Myers showdown. The 2 teams that make Fort Myers home in spring. Here's the big dog, Mr. Oviedo. This guy is an absolute monster of a man. So he starts his outing with a strikeout of a curveball with a curveball. A little weird up and away curve. Second batter. In play out. Another terrible clip. And a strikeout on a sinker. Really weird metric here. 4.3, 8.1. So Oviedo, we've been talking about it a little bit earlier in spring when we watched him. He's got a weird release, so it kind of makes him a little bit of an outlier, but at the same time, his pitch movements are like really bizarre. Like 4.3, 8.1. I don't really know what that is. It's like a weird cutting, sinking. I don't know what to call that pitch. All right. Second inning. Called strike on a fastball. Good catch by Wonger there, and then here's a hit. So it's definitely cutting. I mean, his four seam, it's 11.8 and 0. And then the sinker's just got a little bit more run. So again, it's just kind of a weird. Weird is good. Don't get me wrong, but this is a guy you have to grade by the eye test. Like, the machine's not going to really know what to make of some of these pitches. There's Rafaela making a play out there in center in that triangle. Man, Royce hit that ball hard. How hard? 102. So, little sac fly. Here's a hit. Ooh, purple glove. I don't know about the purple glove with the red jersey, but okay. Base hit there. Slider. Got a pretty good slider. Out to Abreu. The champion from Venezuela. It's another slider. Getting away with a lot of pitches in this outing so far. Here's an out with a curveball. This is a homer. Yeah, Larnick way back on the curveball. Into that weird second deck they have there. 105.9 at 27. This is just a 3-2. Like, I'm trying to make sure I throw a strike curveball. And it goes right into Larnick's bat path. Okay, next batter. A little walk. In play outs here. I mean, he's getting kind of lucky even with his outs, to be honest. I'm not seeing a lot of command within the strike zone in this outing yesterday. I know he's had a decent little spring, but I don't know. Doesn't look as sharp in this outing for me. Here's a hit by pitch on 1-2 count. Sometimes you're going to see mental lapses at the very, very end of spring. I mean, guys, their brains are already in Boston or wherever they should be in the regular season. And this is why I don't really care much about spring stats. But I will say, looking at him, he just doesn't appear to be very locked in. Or, I mean, these are a lot of pitches just middle. Duran. So he gives up quite a few runs in this game. And the stuff is bizarre. The stuff is just bizarre from him, I'll say that. Yeah, the stuff grades don't know what to make of Oviedo, man. Velocity was big time down for him yesterday. He only has one pitch that graded above average. It's his four seam, and you can see it's just a weird shape. 12.9 and 4, so it's like a slight perceived cut, but no real ride to it either. Even with the low arm angle, you're not going to get much in terms of actual up in the zone play. The VA only negative 5.0, so not really. Even that fastball, I'm not really very high on it at the moment without better velocity. Because if you have like elite velocity and you're throwing a weird shape, like I'm okay with that. But at this velocity, I'm not encouraged, and I'd much rather see early get the starts personally. But I'm not them. Slider has that below average, curveball below average, everything. Sinker, cutter. The sinker's the weirdest shape I've ever seen on a sinker. 6.1 and 9.6, so not a ton of drop or a ton of run on it. I know it's different than his fastball, but that's just a weird pitch. I don't know what to say, man. He's got weird stuff. He's a big-ass dude, 6'6", 275, and at one point he was throwing 97, 98, and I think if you're throwing 97, 98 with some weird stuff, great. But with this velocity, I'm not very encouraged by this outing at all. Maybe head's just not in it at the end of camp, but hard to say. I'm a big fan of the Lance Lynn, Brandon McCarthy school of pitching. Throw like 4 fastballs and 1 breaker to keep him honest. You have to have command and an idea of how to do it. But it is so true. If you know how to command all 4 quadrants with your fastballs and you have multiple variations, sinker, 4-seam, cutter, you can pitch off that. Lance did it for a long time. Jesse Chavez, McCarthy. I mean, a lot of guys. But the command and the understanding of what to throw when is the biggest thing. That certainly would not work with the coaches calling pitches from the dugout. I'll tell you that. Which we had a whole thing on Discord about yesterday. Salvi on calling Seth Lugo. You pitchers are so smart. You have slow slider, medium slider. I'm dumb. I press slider. You decide how hard you want to throw it. I love that. Yeah, Bartolo's a good example. Good call, especially late in his career. Mostly sinkers, but a couple changeups. Almost no breakers. Wu is another one. Burley, of course, there was a lot of changeup in his game and a curveball, but you get the idea. If you can command it, all 4 quadrants, you can dice people up with just those fastballs. You really can. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the Red Sox manage Tolle and Early this season. They do have an embarrassment of pitching depth at this point. But at what point do they let the kids run free, At what point? I wonder. They definitely need some runway in the rotation. So yeah, they just switched it up. We know Early's getting that game 3 start. He's looked great. I think he's earned it. Big time earned it. And Oviedo, long man out of the pen. I mean, look, based on what I just watched, I think that's the right orientation for this team. This is what we're looking at opening day. There's no way Coulomb is ready to pitch. He just got signed. But Giovanni Moran, I saw Watson made the team. I don't even know who that is, but he'll be making his debut. I do like their top 4 if they can stay healthy. Chapman, Whitlock, Slayton, and Weissert. I think Weissert, I mean, man, he looked great for us. So, hard to say. Also, when is Costas going to come back? A lot of questions for the Red Sox. But considering how well they performed individually in the WBC, I think the offense might be primed to be really good at the very beginning of this season. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I'm kind of feeling that way. What else did I have to think about today? All right, here. I think I wrote some text to my thumbnail guy, so I should. What did I say? Benj making the team, Weatherholt making the team, McCutcheon making the team. Those were the main things I wanted to touch on. Those 3 people making the teams are interesting. Weatherholt going to be making his debut for the Cardinals. Love that. After a pretty good spring, I think he's a good all-around hitter. I think he'll be an interesting guy to watch. He's got a shot. He's going to get a full runway shot at NL Rookie of the Year. So Weatherhold, Benj, you know, with Talkman going man down, Benj is now going to get the majority of those early at-bats in right field for the Mets. He's got a great shot at every accolade because he'll get the playing time. We'll just have to see how he handles it right off the rip. He does have the ability to maybe lay in the weeds a little bit in this lineup. We talked a little bit about his batted ball profile in spring. Almost nothing in the air, especially to the pull side. A lot of opposite field stuff. So we'll see if the power shows up in the real season or not there. That'll be an interesting guy to track. And then the old head, McCutchen, makes the Rangers. Looked pretty good in the few games he got in there, and sure enough, he's on the opening day squad as the fourth outfielder. I would say fourth or fifth outfielder. Andrew McCutchen, 16 years, 123 days of service. Didn't get to finish it out with the Pirates, but he's on this Rangers team, which is an interesting team. In their outfield right now, Nimmo, Langford, and Carter. So 2 of the 3 are left-handed, so perhaps he gets some starts versus lefties. That would make a lot of sense. He'll definitely get some pinch hits. He'll give you a very pro at-bat in those scenarios. But good to see Kutch getting his wish at 39 and a half years old. So pretty good chance he will play a baseball game at 40 years old, which is pretty good. Pretty cool for him. And congrats to Kutch for making that team. But that's what you're going to see a lot of today is final roster decisions. We're still waiting on McGonigal and some other stuff. But yeah, what else is there to watch? I don't probably have enough time to watch 1 or 2 more things. We'd love to see Costas get a full run. Me too. Me too, big time. Benj reminds me of early days Marlins Yelich. I can see that comparison a little bit. A lot of opposite field, bat to ball skills, ground balls, pretty well-rounded player, hasn't figured out how to tap into the power yet, which Yelich eventually did. So I like that comp. That makes a lot of sense. Although I think Benj might have a little more upside with the legs and the defensive side of things. It's hard to say he'll get to Yelich levels of hitting, but I mean, the possibility's there. Chances we see Connor Griffin called up April 17th or whatever the service time cutoff date is. I don't know. He had kind of a good and bad spring at the same time, showed some well, but showed well at times, but at times not so good. I don't think he even hit 200. Look, he's going to be there in short order. I think they're dangling an extension in front of him right now, so we'll see kind of how that looks. But I couldn't be higher on a guy than Connor Griffin. He just needs a runway and some at-bats. I know he'll figure it out over time. Okay, can we look at... Here we go. Joe Boyle's stuff grades this spring. He's in the rotation for Pepio. Sure, let's see what his most recent outing was for the Rays. I'm going to hunt around a little bit. Try to find it. All right, not here. 22nd. Did he pitch in this game? Tampa versus Toronto? Don't think so. I would have noticed that, right? Nope. So that was the 22nd. Now we go back to the 21st. These were all spring breakouts. Tampa, Minnesota. Not in this one either. So back to the 20th. Joe Boyle is a guy that's always been intriguing because he's got such crazy stuff. The biggest thing with him was just throwing strikes, not in this one. So it's got to be the 19th. Got to be the 19th. But, from a stuff perspective, that's not the 19th. From a stuff perspective, you would really think, he's hard to ignore because he's got such great stuff. But, wow, 17th. Jeez, it's been a while since this boy towed the slab. Yankees. Yeah, so 3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. We'll go to his TJ stuff in a second, but let's look at his player breakdown from that game. You'll get an idea of why he's on the club. I mean, this guy throws absolute flames, although a little bit lower than what I've seen in the past in this game. 96.9 average on the 4-seam. That's down from his usual 98.5 average. He's got a good slider. People have always liked the slider. Split sweeper sinker as well. All right, so what was this? The 17th we said, Yankees, Rays. I mean, the stuff grades jump off the page. So first thing you need to look at, 112 stuff grade on his slider, his gyro slider. It's almost a 90-mile-an-hour gyro with a little extra left turn on it at negative 4.4 for a 112 stuff grade. That's really good. His four-seam fastball, only a 101, but his velo was down that day. Sweeper, 124. So he's getting at 85 miles an hour, negative 16.5. That's a ton of movement. You'd love to see him go slider to sweeper quite a bit. Even his splitter at 92.3 with negative IVB. Look, this guy's a stuff monster. There's no way around it. It's just a matter of can he be in the zone enough and throw enough strikes. You see, obviously that was the case in this most recent game. 4 walks. If he's in the zone, he's going to probably have some success. He's got really, really good stuff with a lot of arm side and glove side movement. He's got 3 pitches that are right around the 0 line. They go in opposite directions. The split, the sinker's pretty sinky as well, the gyro, and then the sweeper, and then the four-seam's got probably pretty good lift on it considering 35-degree arm angle. I mean, no, not quite, but it'll have great velocity when he's really rolling. So, I don't know. He's an interesting guy if you've never seen him. Sometimes he wears the glasses out there. And he's been around with a number of clubs. Tampa Bay, of course, they're going to be the team that's going to give him the shot. And he got a pretty good shot last year at times as well, but, hasn't figured out the consistency yet. Here's Mr. Joe Boyle with the glasses on. Facing Escara here. Another slider here.
They do want to see him pound that strike zone.
Nasty. So, the Rays is almost a perfect place for him. They're going to set up down the middle. They're going to tell him to spam his best pitches. And when you have great pitches like him, that approach will work a lot. Plus, get him in the trop. Really tough place to hit. It'll be interesting to see how he performs this year.
It seems like Junior is the opposite, right? He shines the brightest when...
Ooh, they tried to challenge this, and it was a ball.
Is what makes him special. It's not just the talent on the field that you see physically, it's what he brings to the table mentally too.
Chop to the left side, out at second. Not gives up the walk here.
I don't know. These guys like Joe Boyle, they're like kind of the equivalents of like the Spencer Joneses on the offensive side. Like big upside because they have incredible physical talent and swing and miss capabilities. But will they reach their ceiling and become a starter? Well, that depends on how you improve your other fundamentals, like how often are you in the zone? How big of your arsenal do you have? Can you control your contact? That will ultimately, decide his ceiling. But at minimum, he'll be an interesting reliever because he can come in and throw flames. And I think in a short stint, he'd be like over 100 miles an hour pretty consistently. With obviously you've seen what the stuff grades are. That was filthy. Sweeper just locks up. Homeboy right there. Gyro slider for a ball. But ultimately, if he's starting, you're going to see a lot of guys just standing there against him. They're going to say, I don't think you can throw a lot of strikes against me.
Ball 4.
And we've seen plenty of walks in this game. Ben Rice whacking a sweeper there.
Up with it, stopping at third.
There's just no way of predicting it. If he can control the count, I think he could be a pretty good guy because he's got good stuff, but he's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go, I think, in terms of pitchability and feel out there. All right, back to the chat. Are there others? Did other stuff happen just now? Do you have any players that clearly didn't match their listed height weight? For instance, when Lux came up, he was 6'2", dude's 5'11", his tippy toes. I mean, I think that was like a thing just in general. Oh, it's also like they measure you like when you first signed, so sometimes the weights are super off. They listed me at like 215 forever. I was like 245. So, I don't know. But now with the ABS, there's no hiding now. They'll get you down to the closest millimeter, I feel like. If you pitched during ABS, would you have trusted yourself to challenge, or would you have left it to your catcher? So I'm starting to change my mind on this. A little while ago, I was beating my chest and saying, oh, I'd definitely be challenging pitches. But after watching it a little bit now, with the way how good the catchers are at snatching them, I would have to be very sure to challenge. Like, it would have to feel like it caught a ton of plate for me to challenge from the mound. Because now I'm not sure that I have the right perception while I'm pitching. So I think I would leave it mostly up to the catchers, and I think ultimately the data shows that's the right approach. Most teams are not gonna have their pitchers challenging a whole lot. They're gonna rely on the catcher, I think. Do you think there's a trade-off in extension versus velocity, or is it all dependent on height, wingspan? Great question. I do think from a sequencing perspective, it actually helps you to be a little bit shorter stride, because you can really set up your rotational. I mean, it's just like if you're not as spread as wide, it's easier to rotate, right? Like if you spread your legs as wide as you could on the ground, you try to rotate, like your hip isn't really able to open the same way in the same sequence. You're kind of doing everything in a one piece. But if your feet are a little closer together and you just open up your front leg first, you can feel your hip going. Then it's like hip, you can kind of keep your shoulders back, and then you can fire your torso and then your shoulder and then your hand, which is the right sequence to throw really hard. So like you look at some of the guys that are big, like Schlittler, Yuri Perez. There are certain guys that you would think, or Legrand is another one, that you would think they would have huge extension because they're so big, but they generate their velocity because they have elite levers, but also elite sequencing because their stride's not as big. So in a way, I think there's a happy medium there where the short stride can, actually give you more velocity. But again, like it's all a trade-off, because then in perceived velocity, you'll be a little bit lower because you're not as close to the plate. We have some guys that have great extension and great velocity, Glass now, Gilbert, Whitlock. But I'll give an example from my own career. Like I had right around 7-foot extension, which was very good for me. But if I got to 7.2, it was too much, because then I was leaning out with my torso a lot. And so when I would get my torso out here, it stopped my body from being in a stacked position, which means I couldn't rotate as efficiently. So I was leaving some velocity on the table. And not just that, in the big break of my sweeper, it's almost like it had less room to break because I was 2 inches closer. So in that case, like I couldn't get that finish on the pitch. So there's always a happy medium with everybody's game. And I think extension's a great thing to have, but I think a lot of guys do in fact throw slower with striding as far as they can. They throw a little faster when they find that happy medium where they can execute their rotation and their sequencing in that rotation phase of the delivery as efficiently as possible. So I guess that's my answer. What do I think about all the extensions? I haven't seen the others, but this is the time where this is nothing new. This is the time where these all take place. So not surprised at all. And good for the guys that are getting the bags. Bet you Randy Johnson had a 7'8" wingspan. I mean, he was a monster, literally a monster. You got it, Wilhelm. I'm glad that helped you. Ayo, how many times was a pitching coach able to collect a mechanical flaw mid-game with a mound visit? Often or no? Almost never. And don't talk to me about mechanics while I'm pitching, because if I'm thinking internally, I can't focus externally on what I'm trying to do. So if you're coming out there talking to me about mechanics, you can get the F off my mound. That's the way I feel about it. We can go fix that another time, but in the game, that's not going to help me. We have to make a different adjustment. If I'm missing in one spot, like arm side high, say, hey, make an adjustment with the target. Let's go down and away. Like, do something that's going to force me to get where I need to get without having me to think about my mechanics. So, bad idea. Don't do that. Talking about extension, why do we still use raw velo numbers? Isn't perceived velo more accurate? Totally agree with this. I think maybe we'll move to this more in the future, talking about what the perceived velocity actually is, because maybe that's the more pertinent reading, right, than what the velocity number is. But we haven't gotten there yet. We have not gotten there yet. Alrighty then. Yeah, I did see this. Biggio got denied a challenge. Yeah, you have to be quick with the challenge, and sometimes the umpire is going to deny you, which makes this a little bit of a weird gray area, but that's how it goes. All right, I have to wrap it up here. I think I'm just gonna wrap it up now. All right. Good little stream today. Obviously, I was a little late with my haircut. We poked around a little bit. I got so many phone calls coming up. Tomorrow, stream will be the same time, 10 a.m., and we'll get ready for that Yankees-Giants game tomorrow night. We'll see who all the final roster decisions were around the league. And then on Thursday, don't forget, we're going to do Baseball After Dark on Thursday because I'm working the Mets game. So that should be a fun one because we'll have a ton of opening day to break down. But tomorrow will be good. Yankees, Giants. Curious to see how Netflix does this. I've heard rumors of like a huge Netflix barge or ship or something going to be in the Bay. I think that will be interesting. But we've made it, guys. We made it through the off season, all the way through WBC, spring training. There's a real baseball game tomorrow. So that's just amazing. We made it. From that last pitch of that Yamamoto threw in the postseason, and we're finally going to make it. Logan Webb will start us off tomorrow with the first pitch. So that's awesome. If you're a Yankees or a Giants fan, you've made it. You've made it. Everybody else has to wait one more day. But thanks for everybody checking with me on the stream. Had a fun time today with you guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right. Have a good one, everybody.